Welcome to UPM Raflatac. You are now entering a factory that takes its health and safety very seriously and has high expectations of all contractors coming on this site to work. Your company has already agreed to comply with our site safety rules by signing a safety contract. The aim of this induction video is to ensure you work safely and follow the UPM Raflatac safety rules and code of conduct whilst on this site. At the end of this induction, you will be asked a series of questions which you will be expected to answer correctly. Otherwise, you will have to go through this induction process again. All visits to this factory are pre-arranged and you must book into contractor control as soon as you arrive on site. Here you will complete a contractor badge. This is your daily authorisation to work on site. This badge must be worn and clearly displayed at all times. This should be handed in if you leave site at any time during the work and reissued on your return. You will be issued a site security access card, which must be kept with you at all times. Access to the factory is controlled by a magnetic door lock system. Your security card must be offered to a door reader before access can be gained. Access is only available to the areas in which you will be working. Once you have booked in, you will meet with your site contact or sponsor and together visit the work site to review the risk assessment you have submitted and discuss the work to be undertaken. You will also be required to complete a working permit to ensure any hazards present have been taken into consideration before work commences. Any high-risk permits to work required for the work will also be completed at this time. The contractor supervisor will countersign all permits to accept the hazard controls detailed within. At UPM Raflatac, the following activities are deemed as high risk and will require a permit to work. This will have been discussed prior to work commencing. Hot work, height work, confined space, electrical work, demolition, excavation, asbestos. Failure to comply with the requirements of any permit will result in the work being stopped until all conditions are met or your removal off-site. The permit of work will be displayed on the contractor control notice board and a duplicate copy must be prominently displayed in the work area. On completion of the work, the permit must be signed off by yourself and the designated signatory. You will be provided with the site contact details in order to contact him with any queries or issues you may have during the work. While you are working on our site, it is possible you will be audited for health and safety as part of our ongoing ISO system compliance. It is mandatory to wear hearing protection at all times on the factory shop floor and in other designated areas. Dispensers containing earplugs can be found at all entry points. Safety shoes and high-vis clothing like this yellow jacket must be worn at all times. UPM Raflatac has a designated lockout tag-out procedure in place to ensure that all equipment can be isolated safely. If you are required to isolate an energy source, you will be issued with a padlock and key and information on how to isolate safely. These procedures must be followed at all times. Personal protective equipment as required must be worn for specific tasks. As an authorised contractor, it is your responsibility to provide this equipment. This site has a hygiene policy which must be adhered to. It is prohibited to wear jewellery, including watches, on the factory floor. Only plain wedding bands and sleeper-style earrings are allowed. You must wash your hands with soap and water each time you enter the factory. Wash stations are provided at main entries to the factory. Food and drink is not allowed in the factory. Facilities are provided in the canteen. The factory is crisscrossed with conveyors designed to move the reels of paper around the factory. The conveyors move at approximately 4 miles an hour. You are requested to walk over the conveyors, not on them. Yellow and black hatched areas around the conveyors must not be entered. The fire alarm signal in this building is a siren. The fire alarm is tested every Monday morning at 10 o'clock. It sounds for approximately 5 to 7 seconds. If it continues to ring or you hear it at any other time, immediately leave the building by the nearest exit and make your way to the assembly point area located by the water tower at the rear of the factory. Present your security card to one of the 4 card reading devices on the laboratory wall, adjacent to the assembly points. The LED on the reader will turn green. Proceed to assembly point 6. Wait patiently while you're being accounted for and await further instructions. Do not re-enter the factory until given permission to do so by the person in authority. If you discover a fire, sound the fire alarm immediately. Do not fight the fire. Leave the building immediately. Make your way immediately to assembly point 6. In the event of an emergency, UPM Raflatac will provide a first aider. However, the availability of assistance isn't guaranteed, and this does not absolve your company from the legal responsibility of making its own arrangements. All accidents and near-miss incidents must be reported to your site contact through the shift team leaders, so that a robust investigation can take place. All machinery on the factory floor is protected to a high standard, either by guarding or safety beams. You must not work on any machine unless authorised to do so. No safety features must be overridden. Only trained and suitably qualified electricians are authorised to work with electricity whilst on site. Certificates of qualifications may be requested for any person who intends to carry out this type of work. All contractors must work to the requirements of the Electricity at Work regulations, the IEE wiring regulations and any other relevant regulation or directive that is appropriate to the type of work being carried out. Only 110 volts portable electrical equipment shall be used, unless by prior specific agreement. All equipment must be used in conjunction with an RCD with a trip rating of 30 milliamps. All electrical equipment should be in a clean and serviceable condition, with a current PAT test label applied. For flammable and explosive atmospheres, only suitably approved electrical equipment shall be used. This must be discussed with your site representative prior to work commencing. It is the contractor's responsibility to provide all tools and equipment in good condition that are necessary to perform the job for which he's been engaged. You are responsible for the safe use, storage and security of your own equipment at all times. UPM Raflatac will not supply items for loan or use. For hot work activities, only fire extinguishers provided by Raflatac are to be used. The person carrying out firewatch duties must be trained in the use of firefighting equipment. Raflatac need prior notice of any chemicals being brought onto site, and material safety data sheets must be provided along with a method statement and risk assessment. Should you arrive on site with chemicals for use without prior notice, you may be asked to leave the site. Any spills should be reported immediately to the site contact or shift team leader. Spills should be cleaned up immediately using the spill kits provided, and any spill waste disposed of according to site rules. Located around the factory are drain seals. Should you have any spill near to a drain, the drain seals must be fitted and the spill contained. Your site contact or shift team leader must be informed immediately. Site drains are colour-coded: blue, rainwater, red, foul. You must seek prior authorisation before lifting any drain cover. It is the requirement of each contractor to remove all materials and rubbish and to leave the site in a tidy condition. It is prohibited to dump any rubbish or use any skips without prior authorisation. Prior authorisation must be sought before undertaking any waste disposal, and transfer notes obtained and retained. You must follow the site rules when working at UPM Raflatac. The speed limit in the factory grounds is 10 miles per hour. Car parking facilities are at the rear of the factory. Please ensure you park your vehicle in the car park or in the spaces available adjacent to the boiler house. Do not obstruct the main roadway into the factory or any fire exit. Only authorised personnel can operate and drive UPM Raflatac vehicles. Washing and toilet facilities are available for your use. These are situated in Goods In, Dispatch and adjacent to the terminal area of the factory. Facilities are provided for meal breaks in the staff canteen. The factory is a no-smoking site. A shelter is provided for smokers adjacent to the Wareham Road entrance to the factory and is the only location within the site where smoking is allowed. The playing of games and running on site is prohibited. Alcohol and drugs misuse will not be tolerated. Anyone suspected of being under the influence will be removed off-site. Any breaches of health and safety rules may lead to the suspension of work at your own expense or the termination of the contract. On completion of the work, the site contact or sponsor will inspect the completed work, check the work area to ensure it has been left in a clean and tidy condition, sign off any outstanding permits to work. Before leaving this site, you must remove and take with you all waste and rubbish, sign off and return the day pass, return the site security attendance pass. Failure to sign out may cause the emergency services, in the event of an evacuation, having to enter the site to look for you, believing you to still be on site. Any breaches of the safety rules may result in a monetary fine, the suspension of work at your own expense, or the termination of the contract. Once you have successfully completed the site safety induction, you will be given an induction authorisation card, which will last for 1 year. You must present this card every time you are required to work. Please keep this card safe and bring it with you, as it will be required as proof of your induction. Otherwise, you will be asked to go through this induction process again. Thank you for your cooperation. Should you have any questions regarding the contents of this induction video, or you feel you cannot meet any of the requirements, please seek further advice from your site sponsor or your health and safety advisor. Thank you for watching.